There is no doubt that petroleum is the engine that drives the Nigerian economy. From the very first day crude oil was pumped from the first oil well in Nigeria at Oloibiri in present-day Bayelsa State in 1956, the engine of Nigeria has not stopped revolving on oil. In fact, more than 80% of Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings come from crude oil. Yet, the country is beset with the problem of inadequate petroleum refining capacity, with the result that for some years now, Nigeria has become a net importer of refined petroleum products. This has imposed a huge strain on the nation's foreign earnings. The country's 4 existing refineries can at best be described as epileptic in their operations. This is where private sector involvement in the downstream sector of the country's petroleum industry becomes very crucial. In June 2002, Tonwei Group of Companies, along with 18 others, obtained an operating license for the establishment of a petroleum refinery in Nigeria. Tonwei Refinery earmarked Agge in a Keremo local government area of Bayelsa State for the siting of its refinery. The location of the refinery is also influenced by its nearness to its source of raw materials, since it is surrounded by oil wells. Moreover, the siting of the project at Agge will generate development in the entire area, which at present could be regarded as a depressed zone despite its fabulous wealth in crude oil. In October 2002, then President Olusegun Obasanjo sent a high-powered delegation led by the Presidential Advisor on Oil and Gas, Mr. Funsho Kupolokun, to the foundation-laying ceremony of the refinery.
Ladies and gentlemen, convinced of the genuineness and workability of the liberalization policy, our government on January 1 this year commenced liberalization of the downstream sector, and as a logical follow-up, government in May this year released the list of 18 successful applicants that were issued preliminary license for the construction of private refineries in the country. Tonwei Refinery made that list. I congratulate you.
Also present at the ceremony was the former Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Ibrahim Mantu, and the then Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, who is now President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria.
I'm so happy that today the foundation stone of the refinery is being laid. It's a major downstream operations of the oil industry, and it will revolutionize our own industrial base and stimulate and increase job opportunities for all of us. So the economic importance of the refinery is something you cannot even imagine. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. The realization of this refinery starts with the foundation laying. And I would love to see when I will come here to witness the commissioning ceremony of this refinery, which is the
The Chairman Chief Executive Officer of Tonwei Group of Companies and the vision bearer of the refinery project, Prince Timi George Tongubor, expressed delight at the government's eagerness to ensure that the project takes off. He said when it comes on stream,
this foundation stone laying ceremony of Tonwei Refinery Limited is the beginning of genuine cooperation between the federal, state, and local governments on one hand, and indigenous entrepreneurs in the industry on the other hand, to protect and promote political stability for economic empowerment and social harmony in our land.
To confirm the suitability of the site at Agge and the surrounding communities for the hosting of the refinery and its ancillary structures, Tonwei Refinery invited 2 technical experts, Engineer Pierre Rouvert and Mr. Gilles Giraudy from France, to carry out a soil test at the site in 2006. They took soil samples at the various locations of the project for analysis in France. The result proved positive. Given the required push, this private sector-driven initiative should germinate and grow into a worthy model of excellence on the Nigerian industrial landscape. However, there is much work ahead for Prince Tongubor and his executives. In pursuit of their goal, they visited Government House, Yenagoa, where they briefed the then Governor, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, on the progress so far on the project. The delegation also visited the various host communities where they interacted with the traditional rulers, elders, and the ordinary people. The communities included Agoro, Age, Orobiri, and Isampo, among others. In all the communities visited, the message was the same: the long-awaited deliverance from economic slavery and abject poverty is in sight. Once Tonwei refinery takes off, a lot of able-bodied men and women would benefit from either direct employment or other economic spin-offs from the siting of the refinery in the area. They, however, need to ensure the security of facilities that are put on ground for the benefit of all.
We are ready to protect the company on all the facilities. There will be no problem as long as we are assigned.
The traditional rulers, on their part, commended the management of Tonwei Refinery for considering their communities worthy of hosting a project like the refinery. They expressed satisfaction that at last their long-neglected communities would witness some development with the coming of the refinery.
We are very grateful for this Tonwei refinery. Since 1992, Tonwei came to our community, laid financial stone as a refinery. But up to then, we never see him. But today, good of it, today is the 21st day of November 2010. It came now explained to the community that the thing is now okay. We want to start up, execute the project. We are very grateful, very, very grateful.
To assure the host communities that they would never be neglected when the refinery comes on stream, the management of Tonwei Refinery invited them to a stakeholders meeting in Warri. Each of the communities was represented by the chairman, secretary, and some members of its community development committee. This, it was explained to them, was necessary to ensure that the expected benefits from the establishment of the refinery would reach all the communities. The community's representatives pledged their full support for the refinery's efforts and promised that no negative actions would be taken by any of the communities.
If this thing comes to this plan, I know many of our youth will benefit. And being as a community leader, I, the secretary of our community, I will put full support so that let this refinery grow, develop in a way that we will benefit. And I believe the neighboring villages will benefit too. So we appreciate it, we want it, we need it.
Officials of Tonwei Refinery reacted to all issues and concerns raised by the communities, and at the end of the day, all sides were satisfied with the outcome of the meeting. A Memorandum of Understanding MOU was signed by all sides. The MOU spelled out the objectives of the agreement and the rules of engagement for all the parties concerned, their duties and obligations. The petroleum industry is certainly the most viable sector in the development of the country at the moment. That is why investors find the sector attractive and consider it as a growth enabler in the overall economic development of Nigeria. And that is also the stand of the Chief Executive of Tonwei Refinery, Prince Timi George Tongubor, who is convinced that although Tonwei Refinery will be engaged primarily in the oil business, it will seek to improve the economic well-being of the host communities. Investors in the project share his vision, and that is why some of them flew in recently to visit the site of the refinery and to meet people in the host communities. Among the USA Europe Investors Delegation were Mr. Paul Abolo of Project Participants International PPI and Mr. Temple Tobins of Tobins Holdings Financial Services, representing Exim Bank of New York. He is also a consultant for the project. They were received by the traditional rulers and CDC members in all the communities they visited. From the reception venue, they were taken round the project sites. At the end of the visit, the investors expressed satisfaction with what they had seen.
What we saw on paper is actually what is on ground, and so far we've been very impressed with what we saw. Beautiful sites, so much prospects. As a matter of fact, this place can be turned to a different mega city that's so beautiful, so nice, and it's a wonderful place. I will encourage other investors to invest in this place.
The process is really exciting, very lovely, and the results. I think we enjoy it. More excited than what I thought. Seeing the place myself, you know. As the saying goes, better seen than believe. You know, I see it and I believe. You know, there's a good prospect for what you're looking at.
Members of the communities also commented on their expectations.
Make this refinery come, make we progress. Small and big, make everybody progress.
Among the places visited by the delegation was the once thriving Brutu Port, which now looks like a ghost town. When Tonwei refinery eventually comes on stream, places like Brutu Port will receive a shot in the arm and economic activities will pick up again. This girl can look up to the future with hope.